Greetings, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial for you. And today I'm going to teach you how to crochet this really awesome textured stitch. Excuse me in the back there. It's called the Waffle stitch. Now there are a bunch of variations on this stitch, and this is just one of them. And I absolutely love the texture and the feel of this stitch, and it's really quite simple. It's just a 2-row repeat, so I know you guys can do this. And these raised stitches here are created by using front post double crochets. It's really not hard. In fact, I'd say it's easier than the basket weave stitch because it's just a 2-row repeat, and you only need to do front post double crochets as opposed to front and back post double crochets. So it's really simple. Now for this piece, this example, I used Mandoa yarn by Lion Brand. No, I'm not sponsored, but you know me. If I like it, I'll give it a good shout out. And so this one in particular is Spirit. Lovely colorway. And so I thought it would be neat to show you the different color changes. This would look lovely in a solid color yarn, a color changing yarn, which you guys know I have a thing for color changing yarn if you've been following my videos. What I have noticed is that this works really well with a thinner weight yarn, especially if you're doing, say, a scarf. If it's a heavier weight, that's okay too, but I would be inclined to say make the scarf narrow, because this is a very thick textured stitch. Therefore, it's going to keep you warm, nice and toasty, but it's very thick. So therefore, around the neck, it might be a bit much if it's a really wide piece. This would be great for blankets, especially baby blankets. The texture, you just fall in love with it. Now, the other thing is that it is not a two-sided stitch. So on this side, of course, you've got this really lovely, groovy texture here. On the back, not so much. I mean, it's still cool, you know, in its own way, you know, but the real magic is on this side. So this would really, really lend itself to blankets, throws, what have you. But you got to feel it to believe it. You know, the texture's awesome. So with this piece, I used a size H crochet hook, which I find works well for me with a weight of 3 yarn. And for today's example, I'm going to use Karen Big Cake's cherry compote, because I had it lying around. Again, no, not sponsored, but, you know, I groove on the yarn. What can I say? These colors are awesome. So, without further ado, we will get started. Okie dokie. So, also, forgot to mention, with this yarn, I'm going to be using a size J crochet hook, because this yarn is a bit thicker, and I want the example to have a bit of flow to it. So I'm going on the side of bigger as opposed to smaller. So, for the base chain, you are going to need a multiple of 3 stitches plus 2 stitches. And so I decided on doing my multiple of 3 as 18 stitches plus my additional 2 stitches, so I've got a total of 20 for this example here. Okay? And so what you're going to want to do is into the 4th chain from the hook, do a double crochet. Easy enough, right? And then into every stitch, do a double crochet. How's that for simple? And this first row does not count as far as the repeat is concerned, but I'm showing you anyway. And this is one of those really great patterns as far as being able to do the work, be productive, and be mindful. I don't like to call it a mindless pattern or a mindless stitch. No. It's mindful. You can get lost in the zone and you can have deep thoughts while you're making something nice and warm and toasty. Also, another thing about this stitch that I must say is that because you're using front post double crochets, this pattern tends to be a little bit of a yarn hog because of the added thickness of the texture. So be aware of that when figuring out how much yarn you're going to need. Okay, so I got my row of double crochets, and then for the first row, for the first row of the repeat, excusez-moi, you are going to chain up 3. Okay, and that's going to count as our first double crochet. And so we're going to start by doing a front post double crochet, and it's going to be this first post right here. Okay, since the chain 3 is right here, it counts as our first double. So we're going to do a front post around this post here, not into the top of the stitch, but around the post, like so. So front post double crochet, and that is our first stitch. It's raised. Then into the next 2 double crochets, just do regular double crochets. And then do another front post double crochet into the next post. And then 2 regular double crochets into the tops of those stitches. And then do a front post double crochet. It may seem a little bit alien to you if you've never done front and back post double crochets before, but you will get used to it. In fact, you may grow to like them because you're not going into the stitch, you're going around the post. So to an extent, it's almost easier. All right, so I did my front post here, and now I've got 2 regular doubles, and then another front post, and then 2 regular doubles, if my yarn will behave, and then a front post, and then 2 doubles, and then we're almost at the end. So we're going to, around this last post here, we're going to do a front post double crochet, and then to finish off, because on this side we have our chain 3, which acts as our first double. So on the very end here, we're going to do a double crochet into, let me just adjust myself here. See, right here is where we did our front post. So into the 3rd chain from the bottom, we're going to do a double crochet. I'm going to turn this so that you can see. So this stitch right here, see, that's the top of that stitch. And so we're going to go right into here with a double. See? All right, so we're doing a double into that last stitch. Got a little shadow action going on so that you can see the raised appearance of my front post double crochets. You know, depending upon the lighting, you may not see it, but oh, you'll feel it, trust me. All right, so I'm going to pull out some more yarn and I will show you the next row. Okay. All right, so that was the end of row 2 that we just did. So for row 3, we're going to start by, again, chaining up 3. And then we turn our work. And now we're going to basically invert the stitches that we just did. So the first stitch, on the other side, it was a front post. In this case, it's going to be a regular double crochet. And then the next 2 stitches were regulars. Now they're going to be front posts. So one front post, and then another front post. Okay. And then the next stitch is going to be a regular double crochet. Now I'm going to stop and I'm going to turn it around to show you that by making that first stitch a regular stitch, it gets pushed to the front in this case, it gets pushed to the back in this case. I hope this makes sense, in the grand scheme of things. And vice versa with these 2 stitches, because on the other side, their front post, they get pushed towards us, so they get pushed back on the right side, the facing side. Okay? Just like to, give a full explanation. Okay, so we did our regular stitch, and then we do these 2 stitches as front post double crochet stitches. And then 1 regular double crochet, and then 2 front post double crochets, and then a regular double crochet, and then 2 front post, and then a regular double, and then 2 front post, and then a regular double in the last stitch there, and then for the very end edge, going to do a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the bottom. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 right up here. Oops. And there we are. And so our 3rd row is complete. So turning it over, da 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 da. All right. And so I'm going to continue on with another bunch of rows. You wouldn't want to end on row 3. You would want to end on a row 2, which I will show you because it'll give you a symmetrical top and bottom to your piece. All right. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so for the next row, which is the repeat of row 2, chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright, now into this first stitch here, the first post, because this chain 3 counts as our first double. So around the first post here, do a front post double crochet, and then 2 regular double crochets, like so, and then a front post double crochet, and then 2 regular doubles, another front post, then 2 double crochets. And also, if you ever see FPDC, that's front post double crochet, little FYI there. So I did my 2 regulars, and now I do another front post, and then 2 regulars, and then a front post, and 2 regulars, and a front post. And then, of course, at the very, very end, the third chain from the bottom, that's 1, 2, and 3, do a double crochet stitch to finish the repeat of row 2. All right. So as you can see, it's got some really neat texture going on here. And like I said, the reason why you would want to end on a row 2 is because, as you can see, where we started has nice big open concavities, and then we have that the same at the top. So if you want to go for symmetry, you would want to end on a row 2 repeat. Okay? So I'm going to keep working this along, and just so that you really get the gist of it if you haven't already. No big deal, just, hey, follow along. It's all good, and it's all fun. So I'll be right back, and we'll do another repeat of row 3. All right, so for our repeat of row 3, I'm going to start by chaining up 3. And then we turn the work. And then into our first double crochet in the middle there, do a regular double crochet, and then 2 front post double crochets, and then a regular double crochet into that top of that stitch, and then 2 front post double crochets. Now, of course, you can make this as wide as you want to if you want to make a blanket. Just remember that it just needs to be in a increment of 3 stitches plus 2 stitches so that you can do the sides. Okay? All right, so I did my 2 front post double crochets, and now I've got a regular double crochet, 2 front post, then a regular double, 2 front post, and we're almost there. And then a regular double crochet, and then 2 front post, and then a regular double crochet, And then I'm going to finish it off by doing a double crochet into the third chain from the bottom. Now, it can be a little tricky at times if you don't chain loosely enough at the beginning of your rows. So I do advise, if you are mindful of it as you're going along, that when you're chaining up 3, to not have a death grip on it like I usually do. And that way you can get into that third chain a lot easier when you're at the end of your following row. So that was the end of a row 3. Now, as you can see, like I was talking about, see, if you end it here, it's a little short on the top, a bit long on the bottom. So that's why you would want to end on a row 2 repeat. So we just did our row 3. So we're going to do another row 2 just for stuff and giggles. And I think that should do it. So we'll chain up 3. Turn the work. And since that chain counts as our first double, we go into the next, around the post, front post double crochet. Okay. And then 2 regular double crochets into the next 2 stitches. Okay. And then a front post double crochet stitch. And then 2 regular double crochets. And then a front post. And then 2 regular double crochets. And then another front post. And then 2 doubles. And then another front post. And then 2 regular doubles. All right, and we're almost at the end of this row. And then a front post. Okay, and then of course, last but not least, we do a double crochet into the third chain from the bottom. So that's 1, 2, and 3 right here. Ta-da! Oh, figures. I am determined. Yes, haha. There we go. Okay. And so that is the end of a row 2 repeat. Doesn't that look awesome? The way the shadows just, oh. You just want syrup, seriously. You want hot butter and syrup, but I mean, yes, everybody wants a diet that's high in fiber, but I don't think so. Not in this case, but it's just, oh, it's lovely. Anyway, I really hope that you like this stitch and that you found this tutorial helpful, because I love doing this stuff for you guys. I have so much fun. So listen, if you have any questions, comments, what have you, do so in the comments section down below. And if you like the video, please hit the like button, because your support means oh so very, very much to me. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the little subscribe button, because I try to post videos as often as I can so that I can share what I know with you guys, because I always say that knowledge is power, but sharing is caring. So listen, until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.